Did you miss the pilot hiring wave? With all of the drama around Boeing lately, I have been asked 3 times this week if it is still a good time to become a professional pilot and what is going on with pilot hiring. It is currently April of 2024, and I am here to give you an update on pilot hiring and the state of the aviation industry according to my connections and some of the things that I've seen, official reports from the actual airlines and news articles. I've put it all together for you guys so you can look at it all in one place. Hey guys, my name is Katie. I'm a professional pilot, and I would like to first give a little bit of background about aviation and this pilot shortage in general and what that means. So I've been a professional pilot since 2017, and a lot of us who have been in the industry for a little while kind of chuckle when people talk now about how hiring has stopped or slowed down. And the reason for that is because there is still a massive wave of pilot hiring. Now, there are some pilots out there that might be watching this that even had more of a shortage of jobs than I have ever experienced and are laughing about this whole phenomena of people worried about whether pilot hiring is going to continue. So this is what's going on. There is a set number of airline captains that have to retire at the age of 65. For Part 121, you cannot work past 65 years of age. So what that means is you have to lose all your airline captains at a certain point in their life, and you're not able to replace those at that same rate. That's what's going on right now. So there's been some things that have been talked about. One of them is raising the retirement age to 67, which is in conversations right now with Congress about that. I don't know if that's a positive thing, if some people want a couple more years to work and they're not ready to retire yet, or if people are really tired of working and they just want to hit that retirement age and be done. So pros and cons to that one, but that's one thing that they're talking about. We also have seen in the news that Airbus has recently put out a new jet that is certified single pilot. This is huge. It's still way off in the future as far as this being airline wide, but it does sound like in the next 10, 20 years, that is a reality that we need to expect, is that there could be a push to moving to a single pilot operation. Again, pros and cons to that. I know Delta has said that they will always have 2 pilots in their airplanes. So those are some of the things that's happening with long-term industry trends in order to basically try to help with this pilot hiring shortage. So since I've been working in 2017, it has not been hard to get a pilot job. There's always been a need. So when the airline pilots retire at 65, everybody has to move up to fill that void. It's kind of known in the industry that everybody wants to be an airline captain at a major airline. There's really good quality of life and the pay scale is very high. So that's where everybody's trying to get to. And when those people retire, everybody moves up to fill the void. So that means that there's a shortage all the way down through CFI or low-time pilot jobs. We have seen that for the past 8 years that I have been in the industry. Now, we obviously had something that happened in 2020 that was huge, that slowed down aviation, but that was a temporary thing. And the industry actually recovered a lot faster than anyone was expecting. So people were ready to get out and ready to travel after they had been kind of having the world shut down for a little bit of time. So the industry has recovered and pilot hiring is at an all-time high in 2021, 2022, and 2023. So everybody is very shocked in 2024 now, where there are companies that are actually laying off pilots and not hiring at all. And let's talk about why that is and what's actually going to be going on and what people are expecting to go on in the future. Right now in 2024, we obviously have had this whole Boeing fiasco, right? And if you're not aware with what's going on with that, there's been some quality control issues that have happened with Boeing. There's been issues with the MAX, and because of that, the FAA has stepped in to some of the main operators of Boeing aircraft, and they're getting involved and allowing certain airlines to not even bring any more aircraft on board. Now, I think it's about 20 pilots that you need per one jet at an airline to staff that. So if you have a company that had, an order out for, let's say, 100 737s from Boeing, and they had 20 pilots per each aircraft, and their aircraft are not being delivered, you all of a sudden have too many pilots for a temporary period of time. Because again, the pilot shortage is driven by the retirements, and that is going to be projected to continue into 2023. A lot of conversation about that, and there's a lot of data on it, but that is the overall consensus, is that because of these retirements, that there will continue to be this hiring surge until 2023. So the Boeing thing is hitting certain people a little harder. Like Southwest only operates the 737, so obviously they're having a lot of delays. It also takes a really long time to train a pilot. Even an airline pilot who's already up to speed, already has a ton of hours, when they go to a new airline, they still have to go through initial training, which takes 3 to 4 months. So then you have to have a certain number of instructors to train that pilot. You have to have a certain number of sims they can work in and things of that nature. And it just takes a long time. So all of those things are slowing down some of the class dates at these major airlines. So I have updates on each of the airlines. I did not cover specifically the regionals. The regionals, it sounds like, are still hiring in general right now. So you can reach out to individual regionals and see on their hiring website if they are taking first officer applications. Most of them are. Now, moving on to the major airlines, we're going to start off strong with Delta Airlines, who is currently still hiring. They just put out a press release, which basically said, we are still hiring. I believe the number was 2,000 pilots a year that they were hiring, and now they are down to 1,100. So I say in air quotes because that is still a large number of pilots per year. They are still looking for highly qualified applicants. So they have stated that they're interested in leadership experience. They're interested in people who have been check airmen, people who have upgraded to captains at their current positions, or have moved into some higher level in their job. So they're looking for highly qualified applicants. They still have enough interest that they don't feel like they need to lower their hiring minimums at all at this time. Next up, we have American Airlines. They have stated that they will be pausing hiring for June, July, and August of this year. They still have 700 to 850 retirements that they will be having in the next 5 years. So they still are hiring. They are expecting to be back to the 2023 hiring surge in short order. So that's good news as well. And they will be hiring at American Airlines 1,300 pilots this year, 2024. This will be the third highest of all time for them. So again, lots of hiring still going on and good things overall for aviation and for professional pilots. Let's talk about United Airlines. So we know that they have been having issues as well with some of their Boeing aircraft that they've been operating. We know that we've heard a lot about them in the news as far as some kind of incidents that they have had. Now, I just want to stop and say, anytime things happen in aviation, it's always dramatized and over sensationalized. So you may not understand that these kinds of things could have happened before that were not really incidents or accidents that the pilots handled, that may have just been deviations from a certain flight path that was not as a severe event. But now everything is in the news because it's kind of picked up into the news cycle. So take that for what it's worth. It's still very safe to fly on airlines in the United States. United has stated on their website that they are expecting to hire 10,000 pilots this decade. So specifically, they haven't said what that means per year. And they have suspended class dates right now for the next couple of months, but they are still hiring. So they're still taking applications, they're still hiring. They've just suspended class dates. And again, that could be because of Boeing issues, or it could be because of a training backlog. United Airlines has stated that they are expecting to resume classes in July of 2024. Southwest Airlines, that's another large Boeing operator. They are not hiring for the rest of the year. So they have said one of the boldest statements in the majors right now, they're just not hiring at all for the rest of 2024. They will pick it up again in 2025. And they do have a lot of training backlog right now from word on the street. So that could be part of it. And again, the Boeing delays are hitting them pretty hard because they only operate the 737. UPS and FedEx. So let's talk about our cargo airlines. UPS is still hiring. Everything seems to be going fine there from what I saw. And FedEx, we know there's kind of a lot going on with them right now. So they have had some issues in their company currently fiscally. They actually are not hiring pilots right now. There are some talks about contract negotiation, and they have had kind of a back and forth with their pilots over that. Some people have said that their talks of layoffs have been a tactic in those contract negotiations. And some people have said it's actually that the company is kind of down a little bit right now, and they might end up laying off pilots. So this is kind of interesting because this is just specific to that company, so even in a pilot hiring wave, we can see some companies just still deal with economic struggles. There may be a reason that they don't hire separate from just pilot availability. So there is one airline that is actually talking about layoffs right now. And I know we all hate that word in aviation, but it is Spirit Airlines. Unfortunately, they're dealing with some issues with cash flow and the structure of their company economically and fiscally. So they're talking about laying off pilots. They have stated that they will be laying off pilots. We don't have the exact numbers on that yet. So That's not a great situation for them. But that also could kind of help with some of the pilot shortages at the other airlines. Now, that doesn't really sound great for people that are trying to get hired, because then there's going to be highly qualified pilots on the market who have been laid off and are looking for a different job. So if you're someone that wants a job, that's usually not a good thing. It's also not a good thing if you're getting laid off from your airline. So hope that goes well for you guys over there at Spirit. In the Part 135 world and all the other jobs outside of the airlines, people are still hiring. You know, NetJets is still hiring, FlexJet is hiring. Some of them have raised their minimums back up to what was a reasonable standard. And again, when I say raise them back up, for 2021 through 2023, we saw an insane surge in pilot hiring. There were people that got hired at Delta with under 2,000 hours, which is unheard of. There were, you know, a lot of the people that are new to aviation right now, they look at even the regionals having a 1,500 hour minimum. That is not the norm. It used to be you would have 3,000 to 4,000 hours to get hired at a regional, and much more than that to get to a major. So this 1,500 hours, have your ATP at the regional thing, this is not the norm. Now, I hope it is the new norm, because I think that's great. I think that's good for pilots, and I think that they're totally capable of flying for a regional at that point in time in their career. But that's something that if you're used to right now, you've only been in aviation for 2 to 3 years, and you're now kind of freaking out. I know people have approached me online and said that they made a mistake and that they feel like it's a horrible time in aviation. And this is just not true. This is still one of the best times to be a professional pilot in the history of aviation. You were just used to this massive hiring wave that, you know, we're still riding, but it's just come down a little bit. So what does this mean for you if you have just started learning to fly, or maybe you're in the time building phase? Well, it is still a good time to be a professional pilot. Even at the times that it wasn't as lucrative or it wasn't as easy to get hired, it's still a good career path. And it's something that if you're passionate about and you manage your finances wisely and you live below your means, you can have a long, successful, happy career in aviation. So continue to time build, continue to get additional ratings, continue to get experience and move up in aviation, and you should have a great time. You should have a very successful career. Overall, for the aviation industry, pilot hiring is still happening. We have a couple here and there that have stopped, paused, or slowed down for a variety of reasons. Most of them do not have to deal with the pilot shortage, which is still in effect and is still projected to be affecting pilot hiring through 2023. So I hope this helps you guys out. And if you have any comments or questions or updates on other airlines, put them in the comments below.